Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to 3G's Garage. My name's Greg. Keegan over there behind the camera. On today's adventure, we are going to be hopefully reviving a 1980 Yamaha Enticer 300. So the 300s were kind of special because smaller displacement, 300 engine, but it still had the twin cylinder, and it's also a smaller chassis. It's shorter than the 340s were. So these things were kind of nimble, light, super reliable sleds. This one though, we got this about I don't know, a little less than a year ago in the off season, and we don't know how long it's been sitting. It does pull over. And it's actually in pretty nice shape. The chassis is good on it and everything, but it does have a couple glaring issues that we got to address for sure. This pipe being one of them. Usually you see this wrap on it, you know that there's holes in it, and these are kind of notorious for rusting out anyways. So we'll take a look at that, maybe just swap that out. And then also the oil tank here has been repaired and it's kind of leaking everywhere. So we know those two issues need to be addressed. And then the biggest one, the elephant in the room on this, is these 300s and the 250s, both the smaller chassis Enticers, had steel suspension skids. And with age and steel, they have a tendency to rust and they kind of degrade. This one has an aftermarket track on it, which is usually pretty desirable, but all the clips are gone. That's why it's so far off its track. You know, it's just about ready to fall off. So we're going to take that off, take a look at all that stuff, the slides, whatever.
But she's got some good bones. So
yeah, she's got some good bones. And as of right now, we went back and forth on do we turn this into Keegan's next racer because his Enticer is kind of shot.
Okay.
It's got a bent beam in the front and whatever. But I think right now we're kind of leaning towards just a turn and burn on this guy. It's a nice little sled, and these Enticers are bringing better money. So I think we might just try to get it running and get rid of it. So
yeah, we're gonna get her up on the table here. We put the GPX on the shelf, so we got some operating table room now. So we're gonna get her up there, and
yeah, we'll get to work on it.
Yep.
So hang with us.
Okay, we're up in the air now. A little better assessment here. Oil tank, and we explained all that. So I'm gonna start with the dirty work here. Looks like it's already halfway out.
It's mostly empty.
Yeah, and it's mostly empty. So I'll pull the tank off, and then I'll go hunt for another one. And then we said we're gonna take the track and skid out. So I got to get to that axle nut down there. And then what are you gonna work on, the pipe?
I'm gonna take the pipe off. I'll unwrap it, give it a little look over, see how bad it is. If it's too bad, we'll just replace it with one of the ones we got laying around. Otherwise, yeah, I'll probably dig into the chain case then after that. So
maybe I'll see if I can find an air box for it while we're downstairs too.
And we'll see about that. And yeah, so we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll start turning wrenches. Okay, so I just ran downstairs and got our oil tank. This one was pretty hacked together, so that'll probably just go in the trash. This nice clean one here. And I also found an air box. So you have one of those to go on there now. Dad, you got the pipe off. What are you working on now?
I'm just digging into the chain case here. Oh, yeah, there we go.
She's spilling.
Jeez.
Always a lovely job.
Mount Vesuvius. It's some pretty thin oil in there.
Yeah. So when we unwrap this pipe, we'll show you.
Oh,
I bet it's still solid.
Now I know what the villagers of Pompeii felt like.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a river of gear oil.
So I'll bolt that back up, and then I think we're going to replace this line and then probably this oil line here, because I bet you this is cracked from being shoved onto this homemade fixture here. So we'll keep swapping parts, reviving the whole thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, for those of you guys watching, you know, tuning in because you saw an Enticer or something, and you know, wishing that we would be showing more of this. We did do another teardown on an Enticer in one of our other videos. That we'll link that one in the description.
And that one's
You can,
like
yeah,
an
you can
hour
check
long.
that one out. It's a lot more in detail on things that you really need to look at on these. So I would, you know,
And that one's pretty much everything in here and back here. So,
and absolutely, by all means, if you see something or if you have one of these at home and you have a question on something or whatever, just drop a comment down below, and I'd be happy to answer it for you.
we're not experts, but we have
Right.
taken apart and put back together about 24 of these now.
Yeah,
So
definitely not experts, but experienced amateurs.
we've been around the block a few times.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get back to work. Okay, so we're almost fully disassembled under here. I replaced the main fuel line and the oil line coming off the tank. We got the carb off, and it looks like we're going to need a intake boot now because this one was completely mangled, sadly. I think we might have a serviceable one in the basement. So it's just like a metal, I don't know what you want to call it, that fits inside that rubber boot, and they separated. So we're going to need to find one in the basement. But I think we're almost to the point here where we can start taking the track and skid out.
All right, guys. So we got track and skid out here. We see some pretty typical damage on these, considering what we knew about it before taking it apart. So on these older sleds, older Yamahas for sure, the track clips end up getting rusty. They're made out of metal. They're not like the newer tracks. They're not backed by like a rubber nub. Like on a newer track, they have nubs like this on both sides, and your clips will actually run up alongside of that and have some backing to it. Well, on these older ones, they just have like a all metal clip on this side, and what happens is they get rusty, and mainly when your track isn't properly aligned, when it's hanging one side over just a little bit too much, you're putting a lot more pressure on these clips then, because the track is wanting to push against those, and or if you're cornering it hard or riding the sled really hard with old clips, they'll break off too. So if you look at this one, somebody has actually replaced a bunch of these clips. These are all new, and I'm not sure why one side would have gotten done and the other not, but this would have been the left side of the sled, has no clips left. So the clips are there, but the little these guys are all busted off. So like right here would have had one of those. Same thing there, would have had one of those. Those are all busted. And then at that point, when they're all gone, it's almost impossible to get your sled or your track to be straight in there. When you go around corners or whatever, it just wants to push around a lot. And when you lose a few, it just compounds on itself, and it just continues to break them all off, especially when they're old and rusty. This track could be saved and fixed, and we probably will save it because it is an aftermarket, and you don't see a lot of these. They made aftermarket tracks. It has a little bit bigger lug to it, which is kind of nice. But I hate putting clips on tracks. It's a real pain in the ass job.
You actually see that this thing got, these clips or whatever, like the rubber is like melted on some days.
It's because somebody reclipped it, but they left some of these with no clips on them at all. So like there's two different kinds of clips, the ones with these little nubs or alignment ears or whatever, and then there's other clips. Usually you see them every other, where every other one will have one of these, and then the other one will just be a flat clip. But either way, you need a metal surface for that to run on, or else it will just melt on your slide.
So what does that do to the skid?
Yeah, so what that ends up doing is you get a misalignment, and then it starts biting in on your slides and on these guys here. So you can see that this was just like cutting in really bad on this plastic piece. Um, and then another telltale issue with these 300s almost every time is this cross brace here cracks. So I think what I'm going to do is try to take the axle or the shaft out of the center of that. Hopefully it'll slide out of there, and then probably just clean this up and weld over these cracks. And then we need a what do you call it? Limiter strap. That's broken as well. So
You don't want to be doing wheelies all
right,
over the place.
and I don't know. Yeah, we need a bearing back here.
Probably bearings all the way.
Yeah. All right, guys. So went ahead and welded up the axle shaft housing here. That came out pretty good. Shot it with a little coat of black paint. Greased up that axle, threw that back in there. We had to replace the limiter strap, so we went downstairs and found a good one off of another Enticer. Keegan went ahead and put all new bearings in the 4 wheels here, so those are ready to go. Another recommended maintenance item when you have your skid out like this, because most of the time these are not in good shape. Your rear axle adjuster bolts, they're kind of difficult sometimes to get a wrench on. So what we always do is we take them all the way out, we wire wheel them down. They're stainless steel, so usually they clean up nice. And that way when you put it back in, you don't have to fight with it so much. They move by finger really easily. So I found that to be a really handy thing. So that thing should be ready to go back in. The slides they're kind of worn, but we're gonna run them for now. So now we've got our track is all set to go. I was able to get the clips all straightened out, and I took the track clip tool and tried to crush these down a little bit. Some of them were pretty loose, so this guy should be ready to install. Our pipe was actually in surprisingly really good shape. Usually when you see those wraps on there, I would have bet for sure that there was holes in this thing, but I don't see any holes in it. So we're going to run this one. It looks surprisingly solid, so that was good news. Otherwise, yeah, we put a few new lines here, and then it's going to be a matter of getting our carb cleaned up, getting it back on, get our oil tank back on and plumbed in. But we'll bring you back in a little bit here. We're going to go ahead and get the track and the skid and stuff back underneath this thing and keep on rolling here.
Alrighty. Well, that crusty old skid is in. That replacement track.
And we got our slack tensioned. Just pull the axle back a little bit on it.
So I have plans tonight. We were hoping on wrapping this thing up.
You got Chuck's birthday, right?
I got Chuck's birthday, my little sister.
Chuck.
Happy birthday, Charlie. We were hoping to wrap this up in like one evening, but it kind of just kept snowballing. So tomorrow morning we'll probably do the carb, the oil tank, and the air box, and put the pipe back on, and maybe we'll do some laps in the yard with how much snow we got.
Man.
So
yeah, little mud drags we could do.
Yep. So
I'll catch you guys bright and early in the morning.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Okay, it's day 2 of our little revival project here. We're kind of moving along, putting all our parts back together. I just got the carb on there. We had that in the ultrasonic. Did a few cycles on that, and then found this air box. I gotta find some hardware for that yet, and then we can put the oil tank on.
Yeah, getting closer to being patched up. So,
yep. So you got.
I'm just throwing the exhaust pipe back in here. I get the clutch guard back on. Got the chain case.
Gears are back in.
Yep, chain case is buttoned up. I went ahead and adjusted our brake so it's not as loose as it was before. It's a good thing. We got our carb back in there. Keegan set the free play on the oil injection cable, so that's pretty easy. So if you have question whether or not your machine is over oiling or if it's working properly, how you set that is you can actually adjust the seat here, the height of it. So what you do is you pull the cable out, and it should have an inch between the base of here to the top of that, or the top of that. So got that set. Um, yeah, getting closer to getting it outside and see if it'll run.
A couple more things. Yeah, we'll just putting things back together. We also scraped out some of the grime that was down there because of the oil tank leaking. So yeah, next clip we'll hopefully be running this thing. Okay, so we're outside the shop now. Last time we left off, we were finishing things up here. So now we got the oil tank on, and then we got the airbox. Yeah, I think that's about it. It should be ready to fire now.
Put fluids in it.
Yep.
Got some oil in the chain case. Put some oil in here. We did throw a little bit of mixed gas in here because we had this system open just to make sure, and we don't know how long this engine's been sitting. So
and we put some fresh plugs in it.
Yeah,
fresh spark plugs for good measure. So we're gonna start the pull-a-thon here.
Yeah, we've got a dry fuel system, you know, because we had everything apart and all that, nothing in the bowl. So we're gonna get to pulling here. Thankfully, it's only a 300, so it shouldn't be like death, really. Hopefully, I shouldn't say that. Slow recoil. Hopefully
the clutch sounds good. All right, we've pulled it about 1,000,000 times now. We heard it pop, so we think it'll go this time. So
yeah, we give it a little bit of coaxing, but we did get her to fire, so she should run now. Probably can't hear me. As you guys can see, a lot of debris and crap flying around yet, but everything seems to be pretty good on it. Just got to tension the track yet, and that should be good then. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, guys, well, that's a wrap on another episode here at 3G's Garage. Got the old ET back.
Another one saved.
Yeah, back up and running. We've actually been kind of scouring Marketplace a little bit, kind of looking for something to revive and whatever, and then we just kind of said, well, what the heck, why don't we do this little guy?
Yeah, he's been sitting out back waiting for his time to shine. So
it's not the cleanest sled, but it definitely has potential. So like if you want a really nice one, might not be it. There's some weird things about it, but you could do something with this. It's really solid. It's got a solid underbody.
Super clean.
You know, the track is nice now, and you know, it's back up and running. Had to rip it in the yard just a little bit, just for fun.
It's like, what, 45 degrees out right now?
40 degrees out.
40 degrees, sunny.
Yeah, but happy to be done with this one. If you wouldn't mind doing us a favor, hit that like, subscribe to the channel, please. We would be greatly appreciated. And for those of you who are with us every week here, we really appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot. Otherwise, I think the work is done for the day. It's Super Bowl Sunday, by the way, so drop that in the comments down below. If you got a favorite in the game, throw it out there. We'll get this video out as soon as we can.
Yep.
So, all right, what do we got today?
What do they call this? The champagne of beers, a little highlight.
The champagne.
Yep.
Of beers.
Too rich for my blood.
Ooh, this is the good stuff. Ooh. Oh.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Oh, not bad. What do you think?
Not bad.
I mean, he's the real connoisseur here, so.
No, I don't really drink beer.
Yeah, there's something wrong.
It's good, though.
So. All right, guys, we're out.
That's a bit.
See you next
See you
time.
later.